Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am your host, Courtney Anderson. I usually explain to people, sometimes say, well, it's Courtney Anderson. What's the Courtney Elizabeth Anderson, Courtney E. Anderson? Part of the reason I add the Elizabeth, the E, my middle name, is because there are a lot of people named Courtney Anderson. And I'm just trying to make clear, much as I can, that I am one of many people named Courtney Anderson, but I'm specifically the one, and I doubt I'm not the only one, but there's fewer of us named Courtney Elizabeth Anderson. So that's why we use the full name as much as we can. So here today we have a fantastic show, I think. I'm excited about, actually. And this is a show that's part of our Help Situation Spotlight. And our Help Situation Spotlight series is, of course, where people in our community, people like yourself, people I meet when I do speaking engagements, people share, here's some things I'm struggling with, here's a concern, a problem, a challenge, can you help? And so today in our Help Situation Spotlight, our show topic is, how do I handle jealousy at work? How do I handle jealousy at work? And this is a challenging topic. One, though, that is very popular. One that many, many, many people have asked me about over the years that I've been providing corporate education and training and motivational programs and of course, doing management consulting around the world. So how do I handle jealousy at work? Now, one of the things, of course, that I am is the workplace relationship expert. So with that, sort of initially the idea behind that when I started using it was that I do go in and I do sort of all the nuts and bolts sort of, work professional services. So I can tell you, what your legal rights are and how to handle certain types of situations from human resources or management perspective or as an executive. I have all the business strategy and knowledge. I can talk to you about different theories and techniques to implement in terms of, whatever your business goal is, in terms whether it's, revenue or profit, engagement, retention. So I do all that nuts and bolts stuff. But the thing that I think that my clients began to share with me that was a little bit unique is that I look bigger than that. I'm not interested in just what the specific problem is. I'm always interested in what the bigger context is. So, what's happening between people at the workplace, between executives and managers, between managers and team members, between peer team members, between human resources and different departments. What's the relationship? Because what I tended to see happen is I can teach somebody content, and then I know the content, or I got the content, I'm using the content. But the problem is, in real life and application at a workplace, the program would not be as successful as it could be because the people factor. If you have somebody who you're the manager and you're have another peer manager, and you should be working to collaborate together on some sort of goal, but the other person is incredibly jealous of you and they won't even speak to you or return your emails. Now, even though we have a really clear business goal, I can't get stuff done because of the relationship situation, because of the people part. The workplace relationship expert was born to handle that. So I can tell you that sort of the nuts and bolts and the theory and the practice, but more importantly than that, I like to understand the individual culture and organization, and then I'm going to craft a solution that's going to work in real life, the pragmatic part, right? Because if your peer manager won't speak to you because they're jealous of you, then it's going to be almost impossible for you to utilize some sort of typical standard business practice. That's not going to work because they're just going to ignore you or sabotage you or things of that nature. So this concept of jealousy at work, again, all over the world this has come up. So it's not anything that's a North American thing or something that's in the U.S. or just the U.S. and Canada and Mexico. It's in Europe and in Australia and in Asia and Africa. This is just a human situation. So how do we handle it and what is it? All right. Jealousy, for the purposes of our program, we're focusing on the idea of someone else feeling in a negative way envious of you. So they're envious of either, your job title or honestly, it can be anything. I've actually had these situations where I've gone on to do corporate education programs where sometimes people are envious or jealous of somebody else's, promotion, or they're jealous of their salary or what they think their salary is. They're jealous of their wardrobe. They're jealous of, what kind of car they drive. But I've seen it where they're jealous of what kind of, chair they have. They're jealous that their, workplace cubicle is closer to the elevator. They're jealous of, the fact that they bring in really good, cakes and treats whenever they have the office, lunch party. I mean, I've just seen it. It could be like the littlest thing. Like, really? This is what you're upset about? You're upset because everyone compliments them when they bring in treats for the office party, once a month. But yeah, that's what can trigger these things. And the consequence of jealousy in the workplace is, putting on my, management hat and business hat, it's wasted dollars. So people are jealous, so they don't speak to each other. Because they don't speak to each other, you have incredible inefficiency. And you have to have, some other person then go be an emissary between the two parties that won't speak to each other, or one party refuses to speak to someone that they're jealous of, and then I have to spend money and time on all this wasted resource. When if they would just go ahead and put down the jealousy and do their job, we could get it done. We could get it done faster. We could get it done the right way. We also have a situation where people who are jealous of other people will begin to sabotage them. So they're not just going to ignore you. So the stonewalling, sort of ignoring somebody, is I just won't speak to them, right? I literally won't talk to them. I did I think this was I want to say it was in the southeastern part of the U.S. I can't remember exactly where, but it was somewhere, I want to say like Florida, or Alabama. It was somewhere in the southeast part of the U.S. And so I went to this workplace, and we were doing a workplace education program, and it happened to be two female employees, and they wouldn't speak to each other, but they wouldn't look at each other. So, like, if one started to walk down the hallway and the other one started to come down that way, then the first one would go a different alternative path or hide in the bathroom or whatever until the other one left. It was incredibly silly. And it wasn't the only one I've seen. That one comes to mind immediately because those two actually were some sort of senior leaders. I can't remember if they were executives, but they were either some sort of senior manager or some sort of, job where they had a lot of other people responsible for them. But they had, started either this mutual feud or one person had the feud, and it just got out of control to the point that they literally could not communicate with each other. And all that could happen is people could just sort of sit around and complain and be like, oh goodness, I can't talk to them, or I can't have anything to do with them. And so how do we handle it? And is there anything we can do to stop it or prevent it? Jealousy at work. My first argument would be that jealousy is something, obviously we cannot control other people. So if other people are jealous of us, there's really nothing that we can do to prevent that or mitigate that. I would ask that you consider whether or not there's anything that you could do to minimize your own jealousy that's a negative jealousy of other people. So in other words, I don't necessarily think that all jealousy or all envy is automatically always a horrible perception. So in other words, sometimes I'll see someone and I'll think, wow, that's a great looking tie. That tie looks just great on that guy. That doesn't mean that I'm mad at the person or I'm upset that I don't have that tie or I want to sabotage them and they shouldn't get the promotion. It just means that I honestly thought it looked great. And maybe I feel like that day I don't look as great. So maybe I'll try to, wear something that looks great, tomorrow. But typically when we're using jealousy and envy, it's more of a deep-seated issue of we are unsatisfied with things in our own lives or our own estimation of ourselves, right? So we're unhappy with ourselves. That's a very powerful feeling. And we're unhappy with ourselves, and then we see someone else that we perceive, or we hear about them. We don't have to even see them, but see them or hear about them or whatever. Or become aware of the presence of someone, their existence. And we perceive that they don't suffer the same self-disappointment or self-hatred that we have, that can become very unhealthy. And in some cases, even dangerous, actually. So the first part of handling jealousy at work is that you're not part of the problem, that you're part of the solution. So we all, again, like I think it's a normal, healthy thing. If we notice something someone says or does, or we work on a project and someone, really had a great suggestion or submitted a great work product, I think it's a normal thing to think, wow, that was great. Wow, that was impressive. The issue is that should not be connected to any internal belief that you have about yourself, that you are deficient or a failure in some way. So I think one of the key things that will stop sort of noticing what someone else does something good or positive and stop that from becoming unhealthy is that you don't take the fact that, oh, wow, that was a really great suggestion in that meeting. Oh, impressive. And you don't take it any further than that and tie that positive attention to a negative self-condition. So if I just think, oh, that was great, wow, he had a really good point in the meeting. It's impressive how he, brought that up. And then leave it there, like that's impressive how he brought that up, then I'm healthy and I'm moving forward. If I already, though, before I even went to the meeting at work, was already telling myself, I never come up with good ideas. I'm going to get fired. I don't even, who knows how quickly. And if I'm fired, I'm not even going to be able to pay, for that bill that I have. And I don't even understand how this happened. And, everyone thinks I'm an idiot. And I never can, seem to be able to, express anything well. And if that's you before you go in the meeting, and then you notice someone else and you say in your head, oh, wow, that was really impressive how, he put that suggestion together. It was a great idea. And then you tie sort of this external thing with somebody else that's really a positive to your own internal self-destruction, right? You already were telling yourself, oh, I don't do a good job and I'm going to be fired. If you then turn around and take the fact that somebody else did something positive and turn that into part of your narrative of sort of self-destruction or self-annihilation, and you turn around and say, yeah, he's the one that did something good. It must be easy for him. It's easy for him because, he doesn't even, struggle like I do. I mean, he's been here 4 years. I'm the one that's been here twice as long, and he wasn't even here when that other manager was here, and he didn't go through what I went through, and he just says these things, and from what I hear, is his family has money, so I'm sure it's easy for him to have extra time to, come up with ideas, and, okay. The easiest way to handle jealousy at work and not be part of the problem, be part of the solution, is just you do not engage in the self-destructive messaging to yourself. Most of the time, if I'm in a meeting and someone says something that's a really great idea and I honestly think, oh, that was really impressive, good job. Sometimes I might think to myself, oh, I need to go and make sure that I have more time, before the next meeting with this client, and then I've looked over everything to make sure that I have all my suggestions. But I don't turn it inwards. I don't have sort of an ongoing narrative that I'm a horrible person and an idiot and, I'm going to be fired any minute and everybody else's life is easier than mine and I'm the only one that has all these problems and I'm the only one that struggles like I do and, it's easy for everybody else and, I don't have that narrative going on, so that way if something that's either positive or just minor, like I notice, oh, someone looks nice today, or it's great that they were here on time, I was, a few minutes late. It doesn't become like a negative part of who I am because I already wasn't negative about myself. And I think this is a very oversimplified, but that's the process that you need to go through to make sure you're not part of the jealousy problem. Typically, when the jealousy problem escalates, both parties have different jealousies against each other. It's difficult when it's just one party. Because when just one party's jealous and the other person actually is not jealous, they often don't even notice the other person's jealous because they're just going about their business, having a nice day. They might notice things and think, oh, it's kind of weird that they I didn't see them lately in the meeting, or it's kind of weird that they weren't in their office when I walked by the last couple of days, but they don't take it any further than that. They don't even stop to think that, oh, maybe they're jealous or call themselves upset at me. They're not even thinking like that. So part of this, obviously a large part of it, is making sure that you're not engaging in some sort of negative self-conditioning or self-programming, where you're telling yourself that, these sort of horrible or potentially catastrophic outcomes, that you're a flawed, horrible team member. So that's the first part. The second part is this: what makes people jealous? So once you handle your part, right, you're feeling good about yourself, you're brushing your teeth, getting ready to go to work, you're thinking, maybe I do need to, make sure that I'm getting enough sleep, because I'm not really sure that today I got a little bit of bags under my eyes, but, feeling all right, it's going to be a good day. So before you leave wherever it is that you reside or you stay, or the hotel you're in, if you're like me and used to be on the road all the time, and head out to go to work, you need to make sure that your own sort of self-esteem and confidence is on full. Just like you put gas in a car, you will charge an electric car till it's full. You need to go ahead and fill up your own reserves before you even leave where you slept and are getting ready to go to work. You have got to fill up your own reserves so that you're positive, you're full, and you're ready to get in there and handle the real challenges that the workday will bring. When you get out in the world and you start to look at, how do I handle jealousy? Some people actually attract more jealousy than other people do. And some of my anecdotal conclusions are as follows. People who tend to actually be confident, or they're just really good at seeming to be confident, tend to draw more jealousy. Someone who other people look at and think, wow, they have it together, look at them, that person's going to just tend to draw more jealousy. And if you couple sort of that either self-confidence with actual performance, right, the person is the one who did get the promotion, or who did get the employee of the quarter award, or was acknowledged by the client for a good job, or the boss or supervisor did say, wow, great job for them. So the more attention they get, plus if it seems like they actually like themselves, they tend to be more of a target for jealousy. So how can you fix that? Well, you could not seem to have any confidence. You could also not stand out, right? Don't get that employee award. Don't get the acknowledgement or accolade from your client or from the boss. And don't do an excellent job. You could do all of those things. And you probably will get less jealous behavior that's aimed your direction. But my question to you would be, what do you want? Do you go to work because you want to be accepted by everybody, or as many of your peer group as you can, right? You want them to accept you, to, quote, like you? Or do you go to work because you want to be awesome and potentially have new opportunities, new income or revenue, potentially new positions? What do you want? I have actually worked with people who they would prefer to have everyone, quote unquote, everyone. It's never everyone. But the majority of people, or at least no one outwardly, is showing they don't like them. And so they will sabotage themselves, right? So if you go to work and you actually had a really good idea, but you think in the meeting, oh, if I say anything, they'll be jealous, and they already are looking at me kind of mean, and I've only been here like a year and they've been here longer, and last quarter I did do that really good job with the client project, and they were mad, and they still seem mad. I just won't say anything. Okay. And that's a somewhat effective tool. The only problem is this: once somebody doesn't like you, they usually just keep not liking you. And they might start ignoring you a little bit more if you're not actually the one that's getting the accolades, or that's, employee of the month, and you just sort of blend into the background because you don't talk in the meetings and you don't really do anything. You're trying to keep your head down and kind of hide and blend in with the wallpaper. Yeah, if you do that, it sometimes will be effective, because they'll start to think, well, they don't really have anything for me to be jealous of. They're not accomplishing anything. They don't seem confident. They're not even talking or saying anything in the meeting. So to that end, you will, I think, potentially mitigate the negative behavior that's directed specifically at you. I think the challenge, of course, though, is if you were actually at the job because you cared about your own career, your own aspirations, your own goals, you sabotage yourself by not sharing your ideas, by not putting in the high caliber work that you know you're capable of. And what did you get out of it? You got people who already don't like you. They still don't like you. Just because maybe before, when they were more jealous of you, they, went out of their way to say something to you in the hallway like, oh, yeah, I saw that, when you went to sit down, that sure looked like it was about to snap. Looks like maybe you put on a little bit of weight over holiday. Okay. That's a mean personal insult, but that's the kind of thing sometimes people do when they're jealous. If you stop sort of being a superstar, then usually they will redirect their energy to whoever they think now is trying to, hog the limelight, and they'll say things like, look at them. They just think they're something. And that used to be an insult. I think it was supposed to be an insult that I heard growing up as an adolescent and sort of a young person and finishing up school and in some early jobs. People would sort of walk to me and say something like, well, you think you're something. You think you're something. I might even do a show on this. I've been debating, and I never understood that. Well, of course I think I'm something. What am I supposed to do? Think I'm nothing? I'm supposed to get up in the day before I come to work or to school and brush my teeth and think, oh, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. My ideas are nothing. I have no value. Is that what I'm supposed to think? Well, that's not logical. Why would I think that? Of course I think I'm something. Everyone's something. And I think what it was a way for someone to let me know is that having that sort of self-confidence or looking like I had self-confidence was a huge red flag to attract the attention of people who are jealous. I get that. I still get it today. I'm arguing to you that it's not going to help you be any happier unless the most important thing to you in life, the most important thing to you in life is other people ignoring you, then I guess then it's worth it. Everyone has different criteria. Again, just because somebody stopped being a bully to you or being really more either aggressive or passive aggressive with their jealousy does not mean they like you. They usually still don't like you. They might tolerate you a little bit more because they don't see you as a threat. Many people are jealous, of course, of what they think ties into their own negative self-triggers and their own negative self-conception. So if they feel like they're not good enough and you walk around acting like you think that you're, quote, something or you like yourself, then of course they're jealous of that. If they haven't achieved, the promotion or the pay or the projects or whatever it is at work that they feel they should have, even though that's their own, decisions, their own career path, and they're responsible for it as adults. But if they feel like they haven't achieved what they feel they should, and you come along and you achieve something that they would have liked or they covet, now they're going to be jealous. So how do you stop jealousy? Then you just stop achievement and you stop attention. That's the easiest way to stop jealousy. The problem, again, though, is now that you have no achievement or nominal achievement, and you don't get any attention, then you're also, hurting yourself professionally and economically. But like I said, some people's emotional makeup is such that that's the most important thing to them. So if that's what you really want is for the group to sort of not pick on you because they're jealous, then don't give them anything to be jealous of. So sort of use your body language, your voice, your facial expressions, the way you dress, your grooming to down play any potential perception of confidence, and then don't speak up or have any ideas. Don't perform in a way where you're noticed or given an accolade. And a lot of these things will do something to diminish the amount of negative attention that's directed your way because of jealousy. I would argue, though, again, that it's going to take away most of the benefits of work. So if you decided that you're going to go ahead and be you, so dress the way you want, stand the way you want with posture and confidence, and speak the way you want with clear communication and great ideas. If you want to be excellent and you have goals and it just so turns out that your level of performance is one that the client or team lead or boss or executive notices and rewards, then do that. But every time you choose to invest in yourself, to believe in yourself, and to continue to stretch yourself to become better, more proficient, then of course other people who feel that they don't get that, they don't believe in themselves, right? They don't have that caliber of work, then they're going to become jealous. How do you handle it? The one thing that I have strongly suggested is you kill people with kindness. That's why I said, remember earlier I went through this whole thing and I said, you're not part of the problem, right? So you're not jealous of them either. So that way all of their jealousy just sort of comes in, and it's not amusing, but it's interesting. You observe it, like you can see it and everything, but it doesn't bother you because it has nothing to do with you. And it's also kind of sad because they're just sabotaging themselves. And if the time that they put into worrying about who they're jealous of and trying to sabotage other people, if they just actually went and did their own work and made it excellent, they'd be able to accomplish a lot of things they want to accomplish. But it doesn't dawn on them to do that, and so you can't save somebody from themselves. So you're not jealous of them, right? Like you're walking around or online on your distributed internet team. You're having a good work day. You're getting things done. You feel good. Yeah. So here's a passive aggressive thing where you're asking somebody for some assistance or some feedback or part of the work that they were supposed to do, and then they start thinking they're making it hard for you. Oh, I don't have it. Is that going to make you late on your feedback? Well, no, it won't, because I always have a contingency plan for if other people don't do what they're supposed to. And since you're confident and assertive, then you're going to hold people accountable, right? So if they were supposed to do something and they didn't, and if that has to be brought up at the presentation, then that's going to be for them to answer. Because what happens is this, you're either one or the other. You're either somebody who's absolutely obsessed with other people and what you think they think of you. I find that whole entire line of thought to be a waste of time. A, you don't know what other people think. B, most of what people think about is directed to themselves and their own lives. They're not thinking about you that much. The little bit that people do think about you that might be jealous, who cares? That's their problem, and it's a self-reflection of what they perceive they're lacking themselves. It has literally nothing to do with you. But if that bothers you, then you're going to have a really difficult time in any work environment, even working for yourself, because your need to be able to just do your work and feel good about yourself and stretch yourself to be better. Understanding that every time you do that, other people are going to be jealous. But that's a reflection of them internally. They could do whatever it is that you're doing that they don't know how to do, and instead of being jealous, they could ask you and sit down and, say, hey, I'd love some mentoring, or can you give me some feedback on kind of what process you use when you got salesperson of the month or whatever. They don't do that though, right? So you have to be savvy enough, and if you commit to excellence and you commit to your own satisfaction, job well done, ambition, goals, then commit completely. And understand that in doing that, even just the way you carry yourself, I've done a lot of programs, and we're put together some multimedia programs. Body language, the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you carry yourself, it conveys a ton of information to other people about your own confidence and esteem levels, and it can intimidate people, and it makes people jealous sometimes. But it's sort of everything that you are. The way you speak, how you speak. As I said, one of the things I do is I always remember that, that somebody who's jealous is fighting their own battle against themselves. And I've done so many programs on, what a self-destructive thing that is. But it's a sad thing, so I feel empathy for them. And that makes it easy for me to feel, also some sympathy. I also feel sorry for them. It's sad that they're doing that, battling themselves instead of marshaling their resources, engaging in their self-esteem work, and then getting out there and being all they can be. Killing them with kindness is another thing that I would recommend. So the more that people are kind of snarky or say things that are a little bit mean or go out of their way to try to sabotage something, I would just keep smiling and being incredibly polite. One of the things they had in the southern part of the U.S., which I do say a bit sometimes, I'll say to people, bless your heart, just bless your heart. And what the idea there kind of is that I really do understand the toll it takes on someone to be telling themselves they're not good enough, and to have fear as their motivator. And then they're out in the world, and then there's somebody else who they see either accomplishing things that they want to accomplish, or even if you haven't accomplished anything, you seem like you're not trapped in that cycle of fear, and they become very jealous and envious of that. So when I kill them with kindness, I'm polite, I keep a very neutral facial expression. I do a lot of smiling because I do feel for them, and I'm hopeful that maybe they'll catch on, that they do have some value, and that can help change the cycle that they're caught in with this negative self-destructive behavior and thought process that leads them to be jealous. You want other people to begin to realize their own capabilities, and ideally to begin to live the life where they're able to meet and surpass their goals, which is what all our programs are about. So how can you handle jealousy? If you're not jealous of the other people, then that fixes about 80% of the problems. You have to accept that if they don't like you, they don't like you. Nothing you can do about it. You have to make a choice about what you want. Do you want the group to, quote, like you, or at least not bother you as much? Or do you want to get in there and do your work and be the best you can be and feel great? You got to make a commitment. You can't do both. If you make the commitment to get in there and be your best, then shine. Shine! Feel good. Always treat people with respect and kindness, and remember they're in a struggle. They're in a battle against themselves, and they are losing, and it takes a huge mental toll on them. And that's something you should have the utmost understanding and respect for them. And maybe at some point, if you are, again, consistently, honestly, authentically kind, thank you so much. Oh, that's a nice, that sweater looks great on you. Just keep doing that, and maybe you'll be a role model for them. But you have to accept that, so they're jealous, so what? They're not going to stop you. You hope they turn around and become their own ally, and you're just going to keep shining and keep accomplishing and keep feeling good. And like I said, hopefully they'll begin to turn around that negative path that they're on. So thank you so much for joining me. And as always, you can come to CourtneyAnderson.com for more information.